In Thailand, families. Now, one very interesting thing about Southeast Asia that many people forget is the role of the diaspora community. Many of the media is Chinese media. It's owned by the Chinese diaspora, and those who are successful in business also own media companies, as the case in Thailand, right? So there was mostly in Malaysia and Singapore and during Suharto period, there was very little press freedom. It was not easy to have licenses for radio or TV stations for out. That's really a no-go area. Print was difficult. I mean, you could have newsletters, you could have magazines, but you really didn't have mass appeal, right? So alternative views struggled. There were very little. Sometimes you found avenues through books, right? But very little impact, right? All this changed after 1995, 96, around the region, when the internet became publicly available. Now, one of the first countries that could have a very high internet penetration is, of course, Singapore, simply because it's small, right? So it's easier to connect people and so on. There was no legislation. Legislation was silent. So this is where you only had the Broadcast Act, you had the Printing Presses Act. You did not have internet regulation. So for the first time, and this is where I was personally involved, we decided that we could use the online platform to put the voice out, right? Now, I studied in the UK, I returned to Singapore, and I found out Singapore was a politically conservative country. So I wrote a book called Self-Censorship, titled Self-Censorship, Singapore's Shame. In 20 years ago in Singapore, several elder people came to me and hold my hand and said, James, don't publish this book. Because they don't know what's inside the book, but just the title scared them a lot. All the book says is it observes societies, and it says in Singapore society there's a lot of fear. That even though the legislation does not prevent you, but people practice self-censorship. That's all the book says, nothing more. It's a very sociological kind of explanation. So because there was so much fear, what I did was I printed the book myself. There was